Hello and welcome to Township Talk. I'm Brady McHale. For decades, Lower Merion Township government has been committed to preserving the beauty and character of Lower Merion's natural resources. In more recent years, great strides have been made by Township commissioners, staff, and advisory committees to minimize the Township's impact on resource consumption, waste, and greenhouse gases, plus to help residents connect with the natural environment. We all have to do our part to help minimize our impact on the environment around us and hopefully improve it. This morning, I am joined by Paloma Vila, and I hope I pronounced it correctly, the Sustainability Manager here at Lower Merion Township. Thank you so much for being here.
It's great to be here.
As I was mentioning it in the open there, the planet is under a lot of stress. We have a lot going on in our environment, and we're going to kind of dive into it in a moment. But we hear a phrase a lot in the media about living sustainability. Mm-hmm. What exactly does that mean? And if you don't mind, kind of tell us a little bit about your role here in the township.
Sure. Well, first of all, I like that you said living sustainably and not being sustainable. I think I hear that a lot, and I think that conveys the message that you have to be 100% something, right? So I think a lot of people think of sustainability as either something you're doing or you're not doing, or you are or you aren't, and if you're not 100% there, then what's the point of even trying? But I think the reality is that sustainability is more of a journey than a destination. It's an ethos and a practice for how we engage with the world, what we give our time, attention, and money to, what we expect from our lawmakers and the companies that we patronize, and what we're doing to help ensure that future generations aren't paying the price for the choices we make today, right? So there's no way to do it perfectly, and it's impossible to do it all at once. So don't worry if you're not 100% there. Nobody is. Secret. Nobody is, not even me. But living sustainably really just means keeping the environment in mind with the choices that you make and the actions that you take, and continuing to be a student and learn and grow your knowledge of different issues, and just making a lifelong series of tweaks and changes in how we operate.
So it's a lot more than just recycling and composting. There's a lot more that goes into it.
There is, but that's a great start.
Yeah, and so what has the township done up until this point? I know that the role is fairly new for the township. Was it 2021? Did you say? So fairly new. And you're starting the foundation, if you will, of your department. What has the township done up until this point?
Sure, yeah. Like you said, the position itself is fairly new, but the township has really had sustainability, has been modeling sustainability practices for a long time, way before I've been around. So, just to name a few, Lower Merion Township has been named a Tree City by the Arbor Day Foundation for almost 50 years now. And for the last 11 years, we've received the Growth Award, which means we demonstrate even higher levels of leadership and tree care. We manage over 700 acres of passive and active recreational parks. Passive and recreational parks, I should say, and 71% of that land is devoted to resource protection and passive recreation. We have dozens of preservation areas that have been established as a result of land development projects. They were required to be set aside. We have tons of active walking and biking trails, and we're growing the network to connect more people and places within the township. We've developed codes and regulations that encourage compact development, multimodal transportation, connectivity, walkability, stormwater management, and land conservation. We've completed 2 rounds of energy audits and energy efficiency improvements within our buildings just in the last 15 years. That's resulted in huge energy savings.
I'm sorry to interrupt. What would an example of that be in our township building? So is that LED street lights, things of that nature?
Yeah, so the most recent energy efficiency project that was completed was just completed for the absolute end of it was 2023, but it spanned over a couple of years, was converting our street lights to LED street lights. And that saved an enormous amount of energy and we'll get to enjoy those savings, for decades to come.
How many street lights are in Lower Merion Township?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I actually know the answer. There's 70,000. I just heard it today. Oh, I might have messed that up. I believe the public works director told me 70,000.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a lot of energy that was just being used on inefficient light bulbs, and so that was a huge change that was made a couple years ago as a result of an energy audit that was done first to see where we're using the most energy, and then an energy savings project, which basically allowed us to pay for the project to be done with the money that we're saving from electricity. So it was a great model for doing that. So I could keep going if you want me to.
Well, I'm sure that your office does a lot of work with the Environmental Advisory Council. Is that the case?
Sure, yeah. So I work with the Environmental Advisory Council as well as with the different department directors to basically keep that model of sustainability going and examine where there's maybe gaps in what we do, so we can implement practices and policies that continue to reduce our environmental impact, and implement. And we also are working on implementing programs and educational materials that help residents reduce their environmental footprint. So using the power that we have as a government and as an educator and a leader to sort of model that and help get residents engaged. And it all started with engaging a lot of community stakeholders in our sustainability planning efforts. So that started in 2021 and just ended in June of 2023 when the plan was received by the board. And now also working alongside the department directors and the EAC to identify the actionable steps that we can take to implement the sustainability plan.
And if you don't mind elaborating a little bit more on the sustainability plan, does that include plastic bag usage at local grocery stores? I know that's a hot topic right now.
Sure. So the township did just enact a ordinance to reduce or to eliminate single-use plastic bags in the township. It got adopted in June, and it goes into effect in January of next year. So that was a small part of the sustainability plan, but the plan itself, I highly encourage people to go online and read it. It's a very comprehensive document that covers everything from what we can do to reduce our contributions to climate change, to protecting the natural environment, to reducing plastic use, driving less and walking more, all sorts of things under that sustainability umbrella.
And if someone's interested in a copy of that plan, is it available on the website?
It is.
And if they're interested in joining the EAC, how does someone go about that?
Sure. So we just filled 3 vacancies on the EAC. They're positions that are appointed for 4-year periods. So right now we don't have any vacancies. We might be having a couple more vacancies next year, but people are always encouraged to attend the EAC meetings. It's a great place to learn about what's going on with the township and sustainability, even if you're not a member. And in addition to that, we'll be rolling out a community sustainability ambassadors program soon, which offers another opportunity to sort of get involved in township sustainability, even if it's not with that board-appointed position on the EAC.
Earlier, you had mentioned about working in the parks and some of the trees and the preservation. Are there any big projects going on right now in the township that you wanted to tell us about in terms of preservation?
Yeah, so like I said, the township's kind of always been focusing on that, and the Parks Department does an incredible job with their preservation efforts. There's Friends of Parks groups also. Those are volunteers that are just out there all day, every day, taking care of our parks, removing invasive species, doing tree plantings. So checking out your Friends of Parks and the Parks Department is the best place to learn about those efforts.
It's exciting. Yeah. Now, you have, as you've talked about, a lot on your plate. Do you work alone? Do you have a team with you up in the office?
So it's just me as a sustainability manager. Luckily, everyone in the township is super friendly, super helpful. So got a lot of friends that I can ask advice, or how do we do things here in this area, or how have things been done in the past. And then the EAC has been a big support in kind of getting more things up and running as well.
I ask everyone this question that comes and sits on Township Talk. So I'll ask you your favorite part about Lower Merion Township. It could be a park. It could be an area of town that you like to walk. What is your favorite part? It could just be an adjective. What you love about Lower Merion Township.
The township, That's a tough
I know,
one.
there was no time to plan for this one.
No, my favorite part is the tree canopy. We have a immense amount of trees providing a host of services to the township. One is just aesthetics and beauty. It's a beautiful thing to walk down the street or drive down the street and see all the beautiful trees, but they're also creating shade, providing habitat for wildlife, and Lower Merion does a particularly good job of having and protecting those trees, and we're working on even more efforts to kind of replace some of the trees that have been lost due to storm damage, due to pests, disease, and just development things. So I'm hoping to make that even better in the future, but it's definitely starting from a good place.
Well, certainly a lot going on and very impressive work. We're not done just yet. I have a few more questions for you. We do have to take a quick break, though. Please stick around, because when we come back, we're going to find out what you can do to help make Lower Merion more green. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back to Township Talk. I'm Brady McHale, and I'm here today with Paloma Vila, the Sustainability Manager for Lower Merion Township. We discussed a lot about the Sustainability Manager's role within the Township, some of the projects that you're working on in our first half. But now let's get to know you a little bit more. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up, and what brought you to this area?
Yeah, I grew up in Central Texas, but I've been in the greater Philadelphia area for about 18 years now. So I went to Temple University for my undergrad degree, and then Villanova for my master's, and I've just kind of stayed in the area ever since.
And what brought you to Lower Merion? Other than obviously this job, did you know of Lower Merion before?
Well, I lived locally anyway, but after I got my master's degree in sustainable engineering, I was looking for an opportunity to join an organization and really help spin up a sustainability department and improve their environmental performance and kind of influence their stakeholders to adopt more sustainable practices. And luckily that exact opportunity opened up here in Lower Merion in 2021, and it's been great. Local government is really such a pivotal place for all sorts of initiatives that really affect the day-to-day lives of people and can really make a big difference. So, and that's especially true with the sustainability. So it's been awesome to be here.
Absolutely, everything is certainly local. Is this, the environment? Were you always drawn to it growing up? Is this what you wanted to do?
So this job didn't really exist when I was growing up, but my generation was really the first one to grow up learning about climate change, and that always really affected me. I remember always kind of feeling really strongly about that and sort of feeling like there's something we need to do about it. And funny enough, my aunt wrote a children's book when I was growing up with me and my brother as the stars of the book, or the protagonists of the book.
Sure.
And the whole plot line was about saving the planet. So she kind of wrote my destiny out for me, I like to say.
And as you were growing up, were you involved in clubs in high school, like the Green Club and so on? I
was that nerd. Yeah.
No.
Students for Environmental Action in college, and even in high school, I was in took environmental science and was in the the Green Club and things like that. So yeah, that was always my thing.
Are you working locally with any of our institutions?
Not in Lower Merion, but in where I live, I am involved in the local environmental organizations as well.
Do you hope to maybe grow the sustainability managers, through your office? Do you hope to maybe put together programs with local students who are interested?
Absolutely. There's an incredible group of students in Lower Merion who are very, very passionate about the environment and who are really making their voices heard. And I'll tell you, one of those groups won one of the Go for the Green Awards this year, and just hearing them talk and just seeing the passion that they have for these things. Obviously, it reminds me of me when I was younger, and but just they're just so well spoken and so knowledgeable about these things, and just really have their heads on straight when it comes to what needs to be done. So it's so inspiring, and I'm definitely looking forward to working with them.
Yeah, and their voices are definitely being heard. I'm familiar with that award that they won because I saw some of the news coverage on it, and they're very impressive. And it's really I'm proud to be a Lower Merion resident, knowing that some of the work by our younger generation is out there. So we talked earlier, you've been with the township for about a year or two?
2 years.
Okay, and are you having fun? Are you enjoying it?
I'm having a lot of fun, yeah. I'm really passionate about combating climate change, and there's certainly a lot to do. So it keeps me busy and definitely keeps me on my toes. Speaking
of busy, let's get our residents busy. What are some things that our residents can do to help out the environment? Other than, recycling and composting, we understand that, but does it really help?
Yeah, I mean, those things definitely help, and along those lines, a big thing residents can do is help keep us accountable, keep the township accountable to what our role is in all of this. So, we have a sustainability plan that just came out. We have a comprehensive plan that came out in 2016, and residents can do their part to hold us accountable to implementing those plans, right? So show up to EAC meetings, Shade Tree Commission meetings, Board of Commissioners meetings, and speak up and remind us of this commitment that we've made to the environment and just to improving this community in general. There's civic associations in the township that are really active and getting a lot done and really keeping people's voices heard and keeping us accountable. So go to your civic association meetings, join your civic association, volunteer with your local tree tenders group or Friends of Parks group, and learn more about the sustainability plan and some of the opportunities that are going to come out to be involved in that. And just, you don't have to devote all your time to it. You don't have to even make it a once a week commitment, but just keep it on your radar and really, keep it as something that that you should do every once in a while. Just, show up. Awareness
is huge. Mm-hmm. Now, there's some products, if you will, that the township offers, water barrels or rain barrels. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so on the first floor in the building and planning department, in the window for the building planning, you can go and you can buy a rain barrel or a compost bin, and you can also buy them, online or at your local stores, like eco-friendly stores. But one benefit of buying them here is that we just sell them at cost, so there's no profit or anything like that. So it might be a little bit cheaper than you can find online. Also, I'll make a plug for local Buy Nothing groups, Facebook Marketplace, and any sort of reuse. There's a lot of rain barrels and compost bins out there that people aren't using anymore, so maybe instead of buying new, trying to buy a used one. More sustainable.
That's good. Are there any other products out there in terms of cutting back on electricity? Obviously, it's easy to say, if you have younger children, just turn off the lights, mm-hmm. Remind your kids, turn the light off when you leave the room or when you leave the house. Any recommendations on things that we can do around our homes to maybe cut back on our electric bill?
Yeah. Yeah, so just from a kind of zooming out into the broader sustainability realm, I think it's easy to get caught up in what should we buy or what should we install, and really I think some of the biggest impacts can come from what we don't do and what we stop doing or what we do less of, right? So, from an overall environmental and climate change impacts, cutting back on the amount of meat that you eat, not very popular, but it can have a really big impact on your environmental footprint and your health as well. So, it doesn't have to be 100%, just like I said, but even once a week or, twice a week, cutting back can have a huge impact. Borrowing and thrifting or using these sort of resale economies or gifting economies instead of buying new, or just thinking twice before you engage in consumerism has a really big impact. Again, that's not really going out and buying something, it's not buying something, and that can have a big impact. As far as energy efficiency, I always encourage people to have an energy audit done of their home. You can go on PECO's website and schedule an energy assessment. They have a standard one and a pro one. I definitely recommend the pro one because you can get more information about what's going on in your house. They can identify where there's inefficiencies and give you some ideas for what you can do to make it more efficient. On that same realm of stopping doing things versus doing things, starting to limit your use of fossil fuel products. So if it comes to replacing your oven or stove and you choose an electric version instead of natural gas, that now for the 10, 15 years of the lifespan of that equipment, you're not burning fossil fuels, and that can have a big impact over time, right? Same with using electric lawn maintenance equipment instead of gas, or getting an electric vehicle when it's time to get a new car, right? And then in terms of like waste, avoiding single-use products, obviously we talked about the plastic bag ban, but even just on your own, thinking about if you can buy something in a bigger package or in more bulk, or if you can go to a refill store and get a package, get a jar refilled instead of buying a disposable package. Things like that really do go a long way over time. And more than anything, it's a signal to the retail stores and where you're buying things from that that's what you want,
the
right?
consumer base is interested, sure.
Exactly. So you're basically voting with your dollars, saying, hey, we are willing to pay for this. We're willing to go, show up with our jar and fill something up versus buying the plastic version and what have you. So, and the last thing is just like buying produce that's grown locally and in season can reduce a lot of the impacts from the farming and the transportation and storage and all that.
So much information. I feel like I have a lot of work to do, to be completely honest with you.
Take a deep breath, one thing at a time, it's fine.
We have a minute or two before we wrap up. Is there anything else that you would like us to know about living more sustainable?
Sure. I think the last thing is just that we're trying to do a lot here in the township. We're really trying to educate people. We're trying to reduce our own emissions and get our own footprint down. But there's really only so much that we as a township can do, and we really are relying on everyone to sort of do their part and just keep sustainability in mind and keep it a part of your everyday life and your everyday practice. So definitely check out the sustainability plan. There's a lot of great information in there about what we're doing and what we're trying to encourage residents to do. Sign up to Township email alerts and to the Township newsletter so you can get some of that information that comes out from time to time. And then we have, social media, Lower Merion Sustainability, always putting stuff out there, just little tips and tricks and how you can get involved. And then just stay tuned for more information about how to get involved and educational information and all that.
That's great. And your social media, is that Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter?
I haven't gone on Twitter, but yeah, Facebook and Instagram.
Well, sadly, we are all out of time, but I really appreciate yours. And especially in this busy time of year. I know everyone's working on their budgets and there's a lot of different things going on, as you just mentioned, that laundry list of work that you have. But I want to thank you guys for watching and, again, your time for being here. If you have any questions, you can find out more information and answers to frequently asked questions on the sustainability webpage. I'm Brady McHale. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.